Welcome to Echoes of Africa, where hidden stories, bold voices, and untold truths rise from the heart of the continent. Before you dive in, hit subscribe and turn on the bell, because every echo here reveals the Africa they don't want you to see. For over a century, the world's energy map was drawn in one direction, from the west outward. Europe refined, America consumed, Africa supplied. Oil, gas, and minerals moved north. Profits moved even further north. But somewhere between 2010 and 2025, the current began to shift. What was once a continent dependent on imported fuel is now emerging as the world's most dynamic energy frontier. The change is not sudden. It is structural. Africa's energy story is no longer one of scarcity, but of scale, technology, and new power. Across the continent, nations are investing billions in renewables, grids, and innovation hubs that the West underestimated. According to the International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA, Africa holds more than 60% of the world's best solar resources, yet produces just over 1% of global solar electricity. That gap, experts say, is closing fast. In less than a decade, over 25 African countries have launched national clean energy strategies, backed by domestic policy and foreign investment that now rivals Western fossil projects in size. Morocco's Noor complex in Ouarzazate is one of the largest concentrated solar power plants on Earth, covering 3,000 hectares of desert and generating up to 580 megawatts. When construction began, few outside North Africa believed it could succeed. Today, it powers nearly 2 million homes and exports surplus electricity through undersea cables to Europe. In Kenya, the Lake Turkana wind power project, 310 megawatts strong, feeds nearly 20% of the nation's grid. Ethiopia's Grand Renaissance Dam, projected at over 5,000 megawatts, has become the largest hydroelectric plant on the continent, a cornerstone for regional energy trade. The scale of change has been rapid. Between 2010 and 2024, installed renewable capacity across Africa more than doubled, surpassing 63 gigawatts. The African Development Bank's Desert to Power initiative aims to add another 10 gigawatts across the Sahel region, providing electricity to roughly 250 million people. In Mauritania, Namibia, and Egypt, new green hydrogen projects worth over $30 billion are under development, partnerships that could reposition Africa as the global supplier of clean fuels in the decades ahead. But this revolution is not only driven by governments or foreign funds. At the core are African scientists, engineers, and entrepreneurs redefining what energy independence means. In Nigeria, female-led startups like Arnergy and RinSource deploy smart solar mini-grids that light up small towns without relying on national utilities. In Ghana, companies like Box and PEG Africa are providing pay-as-you-go solar systems for rural homes, financed through mobile payments. In Rwanda, the government-backed Green Fund supports microhydro and waste-to-energy projects, giving entrepreneurs a route to scale up beyond pilot stages. The transformation is technological, but also political. For decades, Africa's dependence on oil imports and Western engineering contracts kept local industries underdeveloped. But today, engineers in Nairobi, Lagos, and Accra are designing grid systems, coding energy software, and manufacturing parts once imported from Europe or China. Kenya Power, once reliant on diesel peaker plants, now sources over 80% of its electricity from renewables. South Africa's Eskom, facing a decade of crises, has turned toward decentralized solar and battery networks built by independent producers, many of them African-owned. This shift challenges global hierarchies. As Europe faces energy shocks from supply disruptions and Asia competes for liquefied natural gas, Africa is increasingly exporting power, not in barrels, but in electrons. The West's traditional model of extraction is being replaced by a new model of generation. The story is not about aid or dependency, it's about design. Behind the numbers are real people. In northern Ghana, 28-year-old electrical engineer Abina Asani works with Solar Taxi, a startup assembling electric motorcycles powered entirely by local solar grids. Her team builds modular charging stations across rural highways, creating an ecosystem of clean transport in regions where fuel prices once dictated mobility. In Morocco, engineer Dr. Amina El-Khattabi supervises thermal storage systems at Noor Solar, ensuring round-the-clock operation long after sunset. In Uganda, 32-year-old project manager Joshua Nambala trains youth on installing floating solar panels on Lake Victoria, part of an initiative backed by the Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet. Africa's energy renaissance is not uniform, but its trajectory is unmistakable. Between 2020 and 2030, renewable energy investments across the continent are projected to exceed $110 billion. The World Bank and the African Union's Agenda 2063 envision an integrated African power pool connecting West, East, Central, and Southern Africa through smart grids. Transmission lines linking Kenya to Ethiopia and Nigeria to Niger are already operational or under construction. In this interconnected future, surplus solar from the Sahel could power industries in West Africa. Hydropower from Congo could stabilize southern grids. Wind energy from the Horn could feed into digital economies across the East. What makes this transformation profound is its timing. As the Western world grapples with climate backlash, deindustrialization, and rising costs, Africa's energy growth is accelerating from a low base, unburdened by outdated systems. The International Energy Agency calls it the last major leap in global electrification. By 2040, Africa's population is expected to double to 2.5 billion, and its energy demand will triple. But this growth, unlike in the 20th century, is being met not by coal or oil, but by renewables, natural gas, and innovative off-grid models. Meanwhile, Western energy influence is receding. The Ukraine conflict exposed Europe's dependence on foreign gas. The U.S. shale boom plateaued. Fossil giants are shifting capital to solar and hydrogen, but Africa's leapfrogging pace has caught many off guard. In 2024, China and the European Union invested a combined $26 billion in African renewables, surpassing fossil investment for the first time in history. For the West, it signals a loss not of control, but of primacy. The narrative of energy dominance is changing hands. Even in education and research, Africa is breaking barriers. The African School of Regulation, based in Cape Town, trains policymakers on grid reforms. The University of Energy and Natural Resources in Ghana produces engineers specializing in battery recycling and grid digitization. Across Nigeria, innovators at Covenant University are developing local lithium-ion cell prototypes using mined materials from Jos Plateau. These aren't symbolic steps. They are the seeds of industrial sovereignty. The impact is already visible. Rural electrification rates are climbing. Between 2018 and 2024, over 50 million Africans gained electricity access through decentralized systems. Off-grid solar kits, microgrids, and hybrid diesel solar stations are lighting homes where national grids still lag. Mini-grid economies are expected to be worth $10 billion annually by 2030, with Africa accounting for half that growth. Each project, whether a 10-kilowatt village array or a 200-megawatt national plant, contributes to a continental mosaic of self-reliance. The cultural shift is equally powerful. Energy independence is reshaping identity and ambition. In films, music, and literature, power is no longer a metaphor for foreign control, but for internal strength. Made in Africa, energy companies are exporting technology, from inverter designs to solar irrigation systems, to Latin America and Southeast Asia. The continent that once followed the world's industrial script is now writing a new one. Yet challenges remain. Financing gaps persist, infrastructure deficits limit expansion, and regulatory uncertainty hinders some markets. But even here, innovation leads. Kenya's Green Bond Framework, Nigeria's Sovereign Solar Bond, and South Africa's Just Energy Transition Partnership are attracting global investors seeking climate-aligned portfolios. Africa's advantage lies in its potential and necessity. No other region can grow without transforming, and no transformation is as globally relevant as energy. What makes this moment historic is not only that Africa is catching up, it is that the rest of the world is slowing down. While the West debates policy and subsidies, Africa builds. The movement is led by engineers, not bureaucrats. It's measured in megawatts, not manifestos. And in the process, it's redefining what the future looks like for everyone. This is the real meaning of Africa's energy takeover. It's not conquest, but competence. Not revenge, but renewal. A continent once trapped in darkness has turned its greatest weakness, energy scarcity, into its most powerful weapon for growth. The West has not lost the future because it failed to innovate, but because it failed to see where innovation was happening. Africa's lights are not just shining brighter. They relighting the path the world will follow next. You've been watching Echoes of Africa, where every story carries the sound of tomorrow. If this moved you, subscribe now, like, and share so Africa's voice never fades into silence.